Haumitakuyepi. Hello, everyone. Some of you may or may not know that I am also a musician. In addition to teaching Lakota language and spirituality and culture, I write music and I recorded it in my own recording studio. In the past, when I lived in South Dakota, I had my own little recording studio and I could sleep in it. It was also my bedroom. And I had a lot of good musical fun in that studio. And I recorded lots of songs. And some of them you can hear on YouTube. If you type in David Little Elk Music, and then the whole list should show up. Or you could go to my channel and look at my playlist, and one of them is called David Little Elk Music. And there's a list of some of the songs that I have written and recorded. Well, back in the early 1990s, that's when I began recording my music. And I thought I would send my demo tapes around to all the native record companies in America and Canada. And back then, whenever you sent a demo tape, the accepted suggestion about what to send to a record company was to send 5 songs. And they would suggest that you do a cover version of a song. So that's what I did. I sent out this tape, because back then it was still tape. Not many people in those days had a studio that recorded onto CDs, onto CDRs. It was rare. They were really expensive machines back then. These CD recorders, of course, now today it's really cheap and just record on the CDR drive on your computer. It's really cheap today. But back then it was very rare, and so everything was done on analog tape. So I had my demo tape all ready, and I sent it around to native record companies, like I said, both in America and Canada. And I got rejected by all of them. And they all told me the same thing. They said, "You don't sound Indian enough." They said, "You should put some more Indian sounds on the tape." So I was like, huh? What the heck do they mean by that? They just said I don't sound Indian, yeah? And it made me laugh because I grew up speaking Lakota, and it was funny for me to hear it. And all these record companies, they were owned by white people. And so here's all these white recording company people, and they're telling me, "You don't sound Indian enough." And one after the other, I would get a letter of rejection saying that you don't sound Indian enough. One of them even said, "You don't even sound Indian." So I said, "Gee." I really like that. You don't sound Indian enough. Oh my gosh. And so I talked to some of my friends about this, and they said, "Well, David, maybe in the beginning, maybe you should bend to their will just to get a foot in the doorway. Do what they tell you to do. Put some Indian sounds on there." And I'm like, Indian sounds? What the heck do they mean? Indian sounds? And so makes me laugh, yeah. But they said, "Why don't you just do what they ask of you? And this way you can sign a record contract, and maybe your first album can be what they want you to sound like. And then after it does really good, then maybe your second album could be the way you want it to sound like." And my response to them was, That sentence has too many maybes in it. Because, number one, what if I did do that? What if I did everything that the record company asked me to do to fit their idea of what an Indian should sound like? And what if I do that, but the record doesn't sell at all? And then they kick me out of the contract, and then they tell all the record companies, hey, don't sign this David Little Elk, he's not Indian enough. He doesn't sound Indian enough. Yeah, shoot, I get a kick out of that when I think of that. That happened many years ago. And so I thought, well, like I said, that sentence that my friends were saying, that had too many maybes in it. And I thought, I'll just do it on my own. I'll just release my music on my own, and I'll do it for fun. I am not out to be the Indian Elvis or anything like that. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to do it anyway. Yeah, and I'll just do it on my own and release my own CDs and cassettes, because cassettes were still in back then. This way I could learn about how to do my own artwork for my covers and stuff like that. So that's what I did. I continued recording my own songs the way I wanted them to sound like. And I didn't care about becoming famous. I didn't want to be the most popular guy. I wasn't into that, because that's linear thinking. Linear thinking is when you think you're the best at something, and then that kind of goes to your head. I didn't want to be in any kind of a popularity contest or see who sells the most CDs and things like that. I wasn't into that. I still am not into that. Because if you just care about being popular, if you just care about making a lot of money from this, then your focus is not on the music anymore. And if you have the talent to be a musician, to compose music, if you do it to make money, to be popular, these are vain things. This is vanity. And this is unhealthy. And this unhealthy energy is going to show up in your music too. And so soon you'll be spreading a lot of unhealthy energy around. So I didn't want to be a part of that. Plus, I also read some books on the music business. I think there was one called This Business of Music. Back then it was kind of like a music business Bible. It had a lot of information in it. And there were other books that I read too that were written by producers and so forth. And they explained what happens in the music business. For example, it taught you that if you signed a recording contract, what's standard and what's not standard. It would tell you that information. Maybe for every dollar that the record company makes on your music, you only get, was it 1 cent or 0.1 cent? Or maybe even 0.01 cent. I don't know, but you didn't make much money. You'd have to sell quite a bit of records, quite a bit of CDs to be able to live halfway decently. You're really a slave to the record company. You have to do what they tell you to do. If you don't, then you're in trouble legally. So after reading this information and talking to other people who were also in the music industry, I decided I don't want to do this for those reasons. I don't want to do this to be popular, to be famous. I don't want to be in this kind of competition. This is an unhealthy competition because the goal is to put yourself above others so that you say you are better than others. And this is leading to a concept called duality. You see this thinking linear. Linear is like, as I was beginning to explain, it's like you put yourself above everybody else and that people behind you are less than you. They're not good as you. They're dumb. And you're creating this me against everybody behind me. That's linear thinking, where everything only goes in one direction and that the further you are, the better you are. And that's not always true. Like, say, for example, you got a disease. What if you get a cancer and it grows fast inside of you? Does that make you better because you have more cancer than the other one? Do you see what I mean? That thinking is not always a good way to think. That's linear thinking. And this idea of being better than others, this is creating something called duality. And in duality, it's always about separating yourself from anything that you disagree with and then saying that is the bad part and you are the good part. That's duality. So you create a good versus evil kind of thinking. So these two ideas, linear thinking and duality, they go hand in hand. And it's not a healthy way to live. And so after learning about the music business and talking to people in the music business, I realized this is not what I want to do with my life. I don't want my music talent to be a slave to anybody. And I don't want to have this thinking of being better than or the best, being the most popular, being the most famous. I don't want that. Because that would create an unhealthy energy. It would go inside my music, and then I would be spreading that. And I'm using my talent in a disrespectful way because since it's coming from within me, then I'm also disrespecting myself too. It's all unhealthy communication. The end result is I get sick, and I didn't want that. So I decided I'm just going to do my music the way I want to do it. I had a recording studio, so I will record my music and make my own CDs, but it was just mainly to have fun. And if you liked my music, that's cool. Thank you. But if you don't like my music, well, that's okay with me too. We all have our differences of opinion. And I'm not out to please everybody. I'm not like that. So I just wanted to do things the way I felt they should be done. And that's the way I approached my music as well. Again, if I had done what these record companies were asking me to do to get signed on their label, then I wouldn't be me. I would be something that they want. For them, I'm just a product. I'm a way for them to make money. They don't care about me. All they want to do is make money. And basically, I'm being a slave to them. And like I said, I'm not out to be the center of attention or anything like that. For me, what's really important is the music. So if I did what the record company asked me to do, then I'm not being me. I'm being something else. I'm being what they want. And that is unhealthy. Then the people who like it, maybe I don't like them because I'm not being me. Yeah, and maybe there could be people that I could really get along with good, but if they hear my music that's being approved by the record company, they might say, "Geez, another one of those kind of bands. Yeah, another one of those kind of singers. Man, I don't like this kind of music." And then they would walk away. And then I would lose. So I wouldn't be attracting the kind of people that are similar to me. Do you see what I mean? And if I did that, I would be recording music and writing music according to the way the record company wants it. They would have to approve everything. So it's really them. It's not me. So I'm not really being myself. I'm not really being me. And that's unhealthy. It's like an emotional denial. It's going to lead to trouble. And if I did that, that unhealthy energy is going to be in my music too. And then that goes out and I'm spreading unhealthy energy through my music if I had done what the record companies wanted me to do. So again, that's the reason why I decided to do things on my own. so that the music you hear from me really is me. So when you listen to my music on my YouTube channel, this is the music part of me. And yeah, it's a lot of rock music, but I like all kinds of music. Again, I want to say it one more time. If I had bowed to the record companies and said, okay, I'll be more Indian for you. It sounds funny. I'll be more Indian for you. Just tell me how. Tell me how to be Indian. Yeah, shoot. One time I was doing a interview for a radio station because one of my CDs really got popular. You see, in the beginning of my music it's rock and roll, yeah, and it's in English. So when I started to teach Lakota language, I wanted to think of ways to get my students to become motivated to learn the language, to speak the language. And a lot of my teenagers were students, and students are all fascinated by love and so forth and snagging and all that kind of thing. So I started to write songs that have that kind of topic. And I thought, first, I'm going to sing half of it in Lakota, and then the other half will be the English translation. So I started writing music like that the first part would be in Lakota, and then the second part would be the English translation. So this way people know what I'm singing about, because most people don't speak Lakota language, which is sad. And the reason why is because of what happened to us and all Indian tribes in North America in the early 1900s and late 1800s, where we were sent to reservations and boarding schools. And on April 10th, 1883, there was a law that said that our language was illegal, and we could not do our ceremonies either at that time. And we could go to jail if we were caught speaking our languages and doing our ceremonies in public. Imagine that. But that was an actual law. And in 1978, there was a new law called the American Indian Religious Freedom Act, which said that now it's okay to speak Lakota in public and we can do our ceremonies. So, this is the reason why most native peoples in America and Canada do not speak their native languages. They didn't have the opportunity to learn it. And now that the opportunity is there, nobody wants to take it. That's the sad thing. So I wanted to motivate my students to learn the language and to hear it, and not just in powwow music or traditional music, but in contemporary music. So that's why I started to do this, to record half of it in Lakota and the other half with the English translation. And then they could be learning these sentences and phrases and use them in their everyday lives. And we were also learning how to talk as well in our classes. But I tried to come up with all kinds of ways to motivate the students to want to learn their language. And when I was teaching back in high school, it worked. And it continues to work as I teach online. So again, I still do my music the way I want it to be. I do not bend to a recording company or anybody. And if people like it, good. If people don't, well, that's okay too. We have differences, and as long as we respect those differences and agree to disagree, we can have peace. Peace begins within you by taking care of yourself mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically, and it will show in your communication. This is how we build peace and love. This is how we learn to love and learn to appreciate love as well. And so I would teach in this manner to my students. And this was all about the spreading of healthy energy. And this is how I did it. And I released several CDs, but one of them really took off because of the Lakota language in the songs. And it got played quite a few places, even on national native radio. There were even a couple of radio stations in Canada that wrote to me that wanted me to send my music up there, so I gladly sent it up there. So it got played in several places, and sometimes people contact me and they say, "Hey, I heard your song on the radio the other day. I was driving my truck and here it came on. How do I get that CD?" They would say. So it's still out there, yeah. It's still floating out there, and some radio stations still play it. Well, because of the popularity of this one CD, there was a local radio station that asked me to come up and do a radio interview. So I went up there and it was really nice. And they treated me really good. And it was a really cool interview. And one of the questions the DJ asked me was, "So how did you come about recording your own music?" So everything I told you, that's what I told him. And he really laughed at that part when these record companies would say, "You don't sound Indian enough." You put some more Indian sounds in there. It's like, what does he mean, Indian sounds? So I was thinking, all right, I'll record some dogs barking and a police car driving by. Some guys hollering around in the distance, and those will be my Indian sounds. No, really, what the record companies meant was like wolves howling and eagles screaming and thunder booming away. That's what they wanted to hear, and some drum beats and hey, that kind of thing. But that's not me. And there are people who do that, and I respect them. But that's not me, yeah? I want it to be me. And so this DJ and I, we really had a big laugh about that. But when it came around to just being myself, and then incorporating the Lakota language in the music, and then it started to get around and people started to like it, and it was nice. I didn't think that was going to happen. It was very unexpected because I did this for my students. I didn't do it to become popular. Yeah, I didn't do it to become unique. I did it for my students. So that's how I do music now. But do you see what I'm trying to say here? Is if I had done what the record companies wanted me to do, I would be trapped in a contract legally, and I would have to do music that is not me. And then I would be spreading an unhealthy energy around. You see what I mean? So if I went down that road, then maybe the people who really would be good connections and even possibly good friends, they would totally miss me. We would miss each other because I'm not being me. I'm not attracting healthy people to me because I'm not being healthy. I'm doing something that I'm not. I don't want to do it, but I have to do it because the record company says I have to. I'm doing what they want me to be. And that's most likely going to attract unhealthy energy because I'm sending out unhealthy energy. Lakota natural law of generosity says that whatever energy you send out comes back to you 4 times as strong. So if I'm doing what the record company wants me to do, I'm not being me. And so that means whatever I send out is unhealthy. And that's going to come back 4 times as strong, unhealthier. And I don't want to be a part of that. So I would miss a lot of healthy opportunities. Other people who are healthy would hear my music and go, "Oh, geez, more of that commercial nonsense. More of that new age stuff. More of that new age crap." And then just turn around and walk away, thinking I'm like everybody else in that genre of music. I didn't want that because I'm not being me. So think about that. As you're going about your life, are you being you? Or are you being something you think is better but really isn't you? Are you trying to be popular? For what reason? Is it a healthy reason or unhealthy reason? If you are trying so hard to be something that you think is what people want, then the people who really matter to you will not be able to see you. They can't find you. Because all they see is somebody who's vain, emotionally, unhealthy. And since the emotions and the physical body and the mind and the soul all connect to each other, that eventually is going to erode away your total self and you're really going to get sick. So if you want to attract healthy people, healthy things, well, in Lakota Star Knowledge, one of our concepts is like attracts like. You have to be what you want to attract. If you want a good relationship, you have to have a good relationship with yourself, which means you have to be at peace within yourself, including and especially you have to be at peace with your past. Then you attract healthy people, healthy things, healthy energy. So if you want good friends, be a good friend to yourself. Because if you're superficial, that's what you're going to attract, is superficial people. So, if I did what these record companies wanted me to do, I'm being superficial. And I'm only going to attract superficial people. But I'm not like that. So I try to take care of myself as best as I can, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Because these four parts connect to each other. And this is what creates peace within us. Then this is also love. It's also intimacy. This is how we make it within ourselves. And we do this because the first Lakota concept, reality begins within. This is why we do this within ourselves first. And then comes that second concept, like attracts like. So, if you have peace, love, and intimacy within yourself, it's going to show in your communication. And that's how you attract others who are similar to you. But if you try to be something or somebody that you really are not, you're being superficial. And that's what you're going to attract, is superficial people, unhealthy energy. Things that appear to be good, but they're not. The choice is up to you. Which of these people do you want to be? What's important to you, good friends or to be popular with the popular crowd? What really matters to you? Is there things you have to ask yourself? And if you're a parent, your children are going to pick up on that. Whatever you choose to be in your life, your children are going to pick up on that. They're going to see it. They're going to feel it. And the older they get, they're going to know more of it. And some of them may be that way. Some of them are going to be, nope, I don't want that. So you're teaching it to your children. Whatever you choose, you're teaching it to your children, directly and indirectly. And it affects everything around you. Because just like everything inside of ourselves is connected, the physical body, the mind, the emotions, and the soul, just like those are all connected to each other, we're connected to everything around us. This is mitakuya oyasin. So when you are striving to live a healthy life, being yourself, you are honoring yourself. You are respecting yourself. You're loving yourself. You're being kind to yourself. And this is the way you will be to others. And you will attract the same kind of people. And those who act like that, but they're not really like that, you'll be able to see through them eventually. You won't be tricked by them. You will be able to see what they really are. Everybody always shows their true colors eventually. So how do you want to be? When you're choosing to be healthy, it also helps you to learn to deal with your difficulties. It helps you to learn from your difficulties. You get knowledge and wisdom, and those are blessings, and they help you with the future difficulties that come. Difficulties are part of life. So the better that we learn from them, the better that we're able to handle them, that we manage them. This is how we become healthy. Love includes not just the good things, but the things that teach us things too, and sometimes that's through difficulty. This word techi means difficulty, but tehila means to love. See, it's in there. See, even our language teaches that difficulty is a part of love. It's not a bad thing. You just have to learn how to work it, that you learn from it. Any kind of difficult experience you have, that you do your best to learn from it. If it pisses you off, okay, go ahead and do something to get that energy out, but don't beat anybody up. Don't abuse anything in nature or anything like that. Just do something constructive. Yeah, cut some wood for somebody who needs wood. Do something physical. Do a long run, run hard, swim hard, bike, whatever, to get that energy out, and then come back to the situation and learn from it. Then it turns into a blessing. It's not a mistake. It's only a mistake if you neglect it. If you neglect to learn from your difficulties, then you are the one who's making it a mistake. So, be yourself. I encourage you to be yourself, because there's so many wonderful things that come along with that. Like I said, you learn what's really important and what to appreciate, and you learn from your difficulties, and that helps you to know what is really important in your life. It's all about being true to yourself, so that others who are also doing that can see you. And then they connect with you. You recognize them, they recognize you. Ah, you're cool too. Let's be cool together. Yay, we're cool. We're the cool guys. You see what I mean? The only way you're going to attract somebody healthy, if you want that, is you got to be that way. And if you try to be something you're not, you're going to miss out. You're only going to attract other people who are hiding from themselves too. You're only going to attract unhealthy energy. Whenever you try to be somebody or something you are not, you are being unhealthy to you, and you're not going to attract anything healthy. Something healthy can stand right in front of you and you won't even know, because you're not being you. How can you recognize it when you're not even being yourself? So I encourage you to be you. That's how you be real. That's how you be. And then everything falls into place after that. And when difficulty comes, you're able to learn from it and transform it into a teaching experience. And learning is a part of life. We learn so that we can live, so that we can love. Homitaki epi. Thank you very much for taking time to listen, and I will catch you in the next video. Tok sha a ke. Until next time.
yakiyahanta nisakibya nawajikte ohini techila mahasani ikhbeya ichia inkdeshni chantema ya luhana nishnala techila. When I hear your name, I get all warm inside. When I think of you, I just want to sing. Whenever I see you, I want to hold you and kiss you all night long. Whenever times get really difficult for you, I will stand beside you. I'll always love you. My one and only true love, I'll never leave you. You have my heart and I only love you. Yo hey, yo hey, yo ha, hey yo ha, hey yo ha, yo hey yo hey, yo ha, hey yo hey, yo ha, yo hey, yo ha, hey yo ha, yo hey yo ha, hey yo ha, hey yo ha. Toha iyautie yakiyahanta nisakibya nawajikte ohini techila mahasani ikhbeya ichia inkdeshni chantema ya luhana nishnala techila.
To learn more about Lakota spirituality, I have written a book called Wichocha Otechike. This book also includes Lakota star knowledge information. All the videos that I make, which are about Lakota spirituality, Lakota star knowledge, and cultural information, are based on this book. This book costs 99 American dollars. This price includes the shipping cost as well as a tracking number. And to learn more about Lakota language, I have written a Lakota language book called Chante Etanha Owoglake, Speaking from the Heart. And all my Lakota language videos are based on this book. This book costs 119 American dollars. This price includes the shipping cost as well as a tracking number. I also teach online and I give spiritual consultations as well. If you are interested in any of my services and products, you can send payment via PayPal to my email address, which is hehaka7@yahoo.com. That's HEHAKA, the number 7@yahoo.com. When you send your payment, please include your shipping address and your email address. Lila Pilamayelo. Thank you very much.